thank you all for being here. I appreciate you being here. I know it's a busy day. I know there's a lot going on. And so, I'm honored that you would take time out of your day to come sit in a very hot tent and listen to me ramble about God knows what, because what did the description say I was doing? It didn't, because mine didn't make it to the website. So you came not even knowing what you were getting yourself into, and I've been saying all weekend that because there's no expectations, I could sit here and smoke a cigar and just drink bourbon the whole time, because all it says is that I'd be here. Right? It doesn't say I would do anything.
We just want to hang out with you anyway.
Yeah, right. Well, here you go. That's what's happening. Welcome to my presentation, and if you could read the title, you would know that my presentation is entitled Adventures for Everyone, or Get Off Your Ass and Chase Your Dreams, even if you're not quite sure what they are. But before I jump in, I just want to say thank you again to Touratech. I want to say thank you to our fabulous announcer who's standing right there, the voice booming off the mountains all day. Yeah, you know this guy. For having me and for hosting us, for putting on this great event, and for giving me the opportunity to stand up here and talk to you about just really my sort of journey to this place where I am right now, and sort of what I've kind of learned along the way, and hopefully, well, I'm going to attempt to inspire you. So yeah, we're going to get a little cheesy. Let's do it. So if you don't know who I am, I don't know why you're in here, but I'm Dork on the Road. I have a YouTube channel, and really I'm up here for two reasons. One, like I just said, I want to share my journey, kind of the history of my channel, and talk about kind of why I make videos, what it's all about. There's plenty of room, man. Come in, sit in the splash zone. All kinds of room up front here. And two, I just want to talk a little bit about what I've learned along the way. I've been making YouTube videos since 2017. I started riding motorcycles in 2016, so it's a pretty new thing for me, and it's been a total life changer. So that's what I want to talk about. So if you're not familiar with my channel, this is it. I make YouTube content. I'm on Instagram. I make TikToks now and then, but primarily I make just a couple different types of videos. So there's adventure videos, going out moto camping, just riding videos in general, just the experience, sharing the experience, and then there's my sort of information and advice videos. So it's 5 mistakes new moto campers make, or 5 ways I'm working on right now, 5 easy ways to improve your off-road riding. That is in the outline stage, and I need to finally actually record. And along the way, I really like to do my best to share what I like to call the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? The channel is called Dork in the Road. It's not called Awesome Guy in the Road. So when I do something dumb, you shouldn't be surprised, okay? And I just think there is a lot of content out there that, especially if you're a person on the outside of the motorcycling, in particular adventure off-road motorcycling world looking in, all you see is a lot of content of really great riders like Paul Torres and those guys, right? And you think, I could never do that. But the vast majority of us are just out here putting around in the woods, looking at beautiful scenery, going camping, drinking too much around the campfire, waking up with a hangover, and riding on the next day, right? But you just don't see that. And so there's a gap there, and I want people to understand that you don't have to be perfect to enjoy this. At any and all skill levels, it's possible to enjoy that. So, and that includes showing every time I do something stupid. Not every time. 90% of the times I do something stupid. And often I'll say to myself, this isn't going in the video, and then I not only leave the stupid thing in the video, but I'll leave me saying that in the video, so that you know that I initially didn't want to. Yeah, right, yeah. Well, you gotta keep it real. That's what we're trying to do. So, again, if you're not super familiar with the channel, just some stats. This is of earlier this week. We are this close to 50,000 subscribers, like 300 subscribers away, and I actually have a 50,000 subscriber live stream tentatively scheduled for next week with a bunch of prizes, but I feel really weird if I haven't hit it yet. So if you know anybody that hasn't subscribed yet and you want to help me get over that so I can give away a bunch of stuff next week, that'd be great. C Concepts is going to give away a seat. We got a bunch of racer gloves. Vanash is donating some stuff, so it's going to be a pretty cool giveaway. Always like to give back, right? Because you guys are the reason that I'm here. Well, I got stickers. I got stickers here. Yeah, so just wait. You're jumping it. All right. No stickers for you.
Just stand in the corner. Yeah. Put your nose in the corner.
So 6.2 million views as of last week. 580,700 watch hours, which you're like, okay, what does that mean? It's 66 years that people have spent watching my stupid YouTube videos. Like, crazy. So last month got 359,000 views on the channel, and it's a lot. And I've been really lucky to work with great companies like Giant Loop. You guys know I run Giant Loop's YouTube channel. That's my day job, as it were, and they're a really big sponsor of the channel. They're always giving me stuff to give away. Rocky Mountain, obviously, Touratech. I'm here with Touratech. Moto Camp Nerd is a big, that's a guy who his name's also Ben, so we bonded pretty quickly. And he's trying to build his business from nothing, and so I'm really like working with him and supporting him because he understands what it is that we're trying to do as motorcycle campers. So that's all great, right? But that's not why I do it. So why do I do it? Well, one, I kind of said this already, but I want people to watch my video and say, if this guy can do it, well, geez, I can do it, right? Like, I'm just a middle-aged, overweight, mediocre rider, up there making it happen, trying to get to cool places and look at them and be like, wow, that's amazing, and talk about how confidence-inspiring every bike I ride is. Can you guys hear me okay over the engines? Okay. Because he tried to get me to get the mic, but I'm loud. I also want people to understand, because this is something that I didn't understand for the longest time, that there is so much stuff out there. Even just like I live in Oregon, and in my home state, I have not seen a tenth of the natural beauty that's out there to see. And you don't have to ride like Graham Jarvis to get there, right? You just have to be able to throw your leg over a motorcycle, a TW200, and put your ass up a hill, and you can see stuff like this. You can't see, you kind of can. That's Mount Jefferson, right? You could drive a car to this place, right? You just have to know how to get there. And I only know it's there because I got out exploring on my DRZ. Sadly, that all burned in the fires 2 years ago, so this doesn't look like that anymore. The mountain's still there, I assume, but not the trees so much.
Be careful now.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's true. We are close. And I want to, when I started motorcycling, as an adult, right? Started riding at 28 years old, 7 years ago. There wasn't a lot of advice for new adults, right? Or even just new people. All the advice is like refining your stuff down to the last 5%, right? Like, fine clutch technique. And I was like, how does a clutch work? Like, I needed like that kind of, you guys could come in. There's plenty of room. There's plenty of room. That's good. It gives me a chance to drink water.
No, they missed all the earlier content, so.
All the free stuff I gave away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They should have been here on time.
Yeah. So, that's okay. The best is yet to come. I always say that, so you stay. But overall, my mission, if I was to sum up what my channel's about and what I want to do, it really falls down to 3 words. Inspire, educate, and empower. I want to inspire people to want to try the thing. I want to educate them so they know how to do it, and I want to empower them. I want them to feel like, if this guy can do it, I can do it. I can do what he's doing, and and I want to show people that you don't have to be the best rider to see amazing things and ride amazing places and have amazing adventures, right? Because you don't have to be. 90% of us aren't, but it's just not what you see out there. So what's special about my channel? Nothing. I don't think there's anything special about my channel because my channel is just about me, and there's nothing special about me, and that's the whole point. Okay, I'm not racing on an MX track. I'm just a dude trying not to fall off my motorcycle. My goal is to inspire other people's journeys. That's why I make YouTube videos. It's why I started making YouTube videos, and it's why I'm standing here right now, because I'm attempting to inspire all of you to have journeys of your own. Some of you are already doing that. Maybe I'll inspire you to take the next step. What's up?
How would you know if you succeeded?
At what?
What you just been talking about for the last 10 minutes, dude.
Because at the Giant Loop ride, I couldn't get to the beer tent because so many people were talking to me, coming up to me and telling me how much they enjoyed being inspired by my channel.
Yeah.
That's how I know.
You're the reason we're here.
Right, there's a tent full of people, bro. Something's working. Yeah, right? So, but when I started, okay, I love this picture. I wish you could see it. When I started my channel, right, I had no idea that the journey I was starting on would lead me here. My goal was not, I want to present at Touratech someday, right? My goal was not, I want to have 50,000 subscribers on a channel about off-road motorcycling. My channel wasn't even about off-road motorcycling when I started. I didn't know that. But the point is, if I'd never started, right, down the wrong path, even in the wrong direction, not knowing where I was headed, I wouldn't have gotten here, right? Sometimes, that's why I said, get off your ass and chase your dreams, even if you don't know what they are. You have to start moving. That's the only way to get where you're going. So, I want to take you back in time. Okay, it's a little bit of a time capsule here. This picture's gonna be really hard to see. Wow. Okay. Well, that says sometime in the late '80s, and this pinkish yellowish blob, it's way skinny. I know you're not gonna believe it, but that's me. Okay. And the bluish blob in the middle is a tent because I grew up camping and fishing and in the outdoors a ton with my dad all the time. Like my grandpa, we got up at 5 in the morning and they would drink coffee out of the thermos and go sit in the woods and hope a deer walked by. Like, I spent a lot of time in the outdoors as a kid. It was something that I really enjoyed and loved. I can remember going camping with my dad and being like, all right, Dad, I'll be back in a few hours. And I just walked off into the woods and, explored, and then eventually found a road on my way back or whatever. Like, I just loved that stuff. And that was great up to a certain point. But, yeah, and then when I was a teenager or, in my early 20s, I got my first car. And it wasn't long before I was like, well, I obviously need a Toyota pickup. You guys can come in. Come in.
He doesn't bite.
No,
Much.
no. I smell, but I don't bite. Yeah. And I spent a lot of time exploring the logging road. So I grew up in, I don't know how many of you know Sweet Home, Oregon, but very small town, but right at the base of the Cascades, right? Logging town, old school timber town. And so we have nothing but logging roads. Like out your front door, you're straight up into the woods. And so I still to this day know like all of them because I just took off on my 4-wheel drive all the time and explored them. But somewhere along the way, you grow up, you start a family, you start a career, you forget things like that, right? And so this is me. Oh, good, the picture sort of comes across. This is 2010, okay? This is me sitting on my back porch, trying very hard to look cool while smoking a cigar and wearing the world's biggest pants. But, I went to college, I got a job, I worked a lot of hours, and I spent a lot of time worrying about the next day at work, right? Even when I wasn't at work, I'd go home and just couldn't do anything because I was too stressed about going back to work, right? And a lot of time, and so I sat around a lot. I was, not that I'm skinny now, but obviously I was mostly sedentary back then, and I forgot all that stuff. I don't think I'd been in the woods in 10 years when this picture was, like, literally, like, other than driving through on the highway, like, I forgot about this thing that I loved ever since I was a kid, and because other things get in the way. And it went on that way for a while, and then in June of 2016, no, that's not me. You can't tell anyway. This is a person on a Ducati in black. That's that's Duck Fan. So June of 2016, my friend Duck Fan, who some of you may know from the channel, randomly texts me. He's like, I've always wanted a Ducati. I think I'm gonna buy one. 2 weeks later, he comes back from Reading with this. This is a '93 900 Super Sport on a trailer, right? He, like me, had gotten his motorcycle endorsement. I got my motorcycle endorsement when I was 17, but I never bought a bike. I never found one. But I never let it drop. I was paying to renew it every time for a decade, for 2 decades. There was a reason for that, right? So when he gets up and goes and randomly buys himself a Ducati in California, something happened in my brain, like a switch flipped or something broke. I don't know, it depends on who you ask. But I started thinking, God, I always wanted to ride. I need to ride. I've always wanted to ride. And my wife didn't believe me. She thought it was like this is a new thing. You're going to get over it. It's a phase. And my brother actually came in clutch and was like, no, he's literally been talking about riding a motorcycle since he was 17 years old. And that's what pushed her over the edge. That's about the nicest thing my little brother's ever done for me. So a month later, this happened.
What is it?
2016 CB500F. I bought it brand new. Scared the crap out of myself on the test ride because I had not ridden a motorcycle in 20 years. So the clutch control is a thing that those are perishable skills. And so I was a little tentative at first, but I got it home, and that started basically a snowball effect. Started watching a lot of motorcycle videos on YouTube and started thinking, well, God, I can do that. And so a few months later, I bought a refurbished GoPro Hero 3 Plus on eBay, and Dork in the Road was born. So this was my very first video. You cannot see it anymore because it's so bad. I took it off the internet because it was coming up when you search for me. And all I do, I swear to God, there's more F words in this than the movie Pulp Fiction.
That's the only one.
I think it was just, I was watching a lot of like Baker X Derek, and those guys were all like, that's just what they did. And so I kind of thought it was the thing, but clearly that wasn't my style. But the original channel name, you can't see it very well, but it wasn't Dork in the Road. Some of you know this, you've heard this story, some of you haven't. I had this brilliant idea. So this was at the tail end of when motovlogging, literally just riding around on a motorcycle and talking about the most like what you have for breakfast, was a thing, and it was like kind of popular. And so I decided I was going to do that. That's what my channel was going to be about. But I was like, well, I need something. What can I talk about a lot? What do I know a lot about? And I had this idea. It's like, well, video games, right? Star Wars, Marvel stuff, like nerdy things, right? And so my channel name was going to be Riding Nerdy. I thought that was so clever, right? It's a pun of that Riding Nerdy song, Riding Dirty song. I can't even say it right. And I got all excited, made an email address, set up the channel, and I was like, well, I better Google it. And yeah, somebody else had the name. And he started like 2 months before me. But it's like a guy that rode around with a bow tie on a KTM 500. And he doesn't even make videos anymore. Whatever. Serendipitous, because I was like, okay, well, I need a different name. So I go to my buddy Michael. I've been doing improv since I was 18 years old, and my buddy Michael, I've done it with him. So he's one of the most clever, fastest, like quickest, wittest people I've ever met. I told him the idea, and he goes, "Oh, well, Dork in the road." Like that, like seriously, like Dork in the road. And I was like, damn it, Michael. Like, it's a pun, like it works, it's memorable, I love it. So I became Dork in the road. And I went around making videos like this. The Empire Strikes Back is not the best Star Wars movie of all time. Such a great motorcycle-related topic to talk about on a motorcycle. Also, you notice the commonality between that one and that one? I could never think of where to go, so I rode, like, I swear my first 10 videos are me riding the covered bridges, because I live in the covered bridge capital of the world. In Willamette Valley, we have a lot of covered bridges, and so I was like, I need a destination. This is actually the same bridge twice. That one's really close to my house.
On your land speeder?
Yeah, well, it's not that fast. It's only a 500, but what are you gonna do? So I made a lot of videos, and things were kind of okay. I made a CB500F review video that kind of did all right, but most of this stuff didn't do well. I have one about Captain America versus Iron Man that's still at 80 views, I think. So I was like, I don't know if this is working. But I started watching this guy. You guys know Everide? I hope so. Because he's like the godfather of dual sport YouTubing. And this guy makes incredibly compelling content. And really cinematic. Like, he's a filmmaker. I always say I'm a YouTuber, I'm not a filmmaker. Right? You guys know Amanda as the Magpie Flies? She's a filmmaker, right? I'm a YouTuber, right? I stick a camera on, hope something interesting happens, and I can edit it into something coherent. I don't make films. Everide does, right? But watching his videos reminded me of my youth, of how much I loved exploring the woods, particularly the forest near my home. And then one day I was like, wait, they make motorcycles that go off-road. That's a thing. So a lot of fast talking, and I mean a lot of fast talking to my wife. This happened in March 2017. That is my 2016 CRF 250L. I bought this hitch carrier and put it together the night before from Harbor Freight. I know, the obvious question, why didn't you put it in the back of the truck? Well, that scared me, I didn't know how. So I bought a hitch carrier instead. I realize now that was dumb. Do you think I was at all paranoid about my brand new bike? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's actually a strap over here, 5. And I actually stopped a mile from the dealership to check everything again, and then halfway down the freeway I stopped again, and it still to this day is one of the most butt-puckering experiences of my life. Because those aluminum things, if you ever used one, they just do this the whole time, and I just spent $6,000 on this bike. I called my insurance company. I was like, does it count if I drop it off the back of my truck? And they said, yeah, it's covered. I'm like, okay, but I still wouldn't have a bike. So bought that. I used it once, never used it again. Duck Fan actually used it when he brought his WR250R home. He never used it again, so after that I sold it. So we used it twice. It was so terrifying. But a couple months later, that's Duck Fan. He actually got a WR250R, so he inspired me. This is why our wives hate it when we hang out, because he inspired me to get the first bike, I inspired him to get the second. Next thing you know, we both have 2 bikes. But this was our first real dual sport adventure. This is in those hills. This is up Huffman, on Huffman Ridge, behind Sweet Home, one of the places I used to explore as a kid all the time. And you can see, we are in full street gear. That's a street helmet, right? Regular backpack. That's Dainese gear, actually, that he's wearing, because that's all he had. Because you can't ride a Ducati unless you have Italian gear, so we had all Dainese. But we just went up in our street gear. This is a tail bag off a street bike. We didn't know what we were doing, but we knew we wanted to get out and ride these bikes. And this was true dual sport adventure. Left from my house, rode 45 minutes to the woods, rode around the woods for a few hours, rode home. And man, I was hooked. Like, suddenly I was remembering things, right? Suddenly I was like, this was something I used to enjoy. I used to love being out in the woods, right? And so that led to a bunch of other adventures. So later that year, we went trail riding. This is at Shotgun Creek near Marcola, Oregon, kind of outside of Eugene. Not a great place to start your trail riding career, especially on a very heavy, very underpowered, very undersprung for a 300-pound man CRF 250L. But that was fun. So we started hitting up lots of trail riding. Like I've ridden a lot of the OHVs, pretty much every one within 3 or 4 hours of my house now. On the bikes that aren't really great at it, but it's just so great and fun to get out there and explore. And I was doing that, and I was making videos. You can see the camera. It's my Hero 3. And so February 2018, the channel hits 1,000 subscribers. I always say that the first 1,000 is the hardest. I have a lot of new YouTubers ask me for advice, right? And I always say, you know, they're always like, oh, it's so slow, it's so hard. And I'm like, dude, the first 1,000 is the worst. Trav knows, he's done it twice now. Yeah.
Yep.
But it is, and because the more subscribers you have, you then get, it's like a cheat code, because your videos get shown to more people right off, right? And the more people that watch the videos, the more that YouTube will show it to more people. So getting that first 1,000 is hard because you have to cut through that and get your videos in front of people. And so that was a big milestone for me. June 2018, this was a big one. And it's so funny to look back and reminisce about this stuff, because this is the first time I ever rode in the woods by myself. I mapped out my whole route on Google Maps. I filled that crappy tank bag with everything I knew how to fix, the gear to fix it. So, you know, tire repair kit, I had a jump starter pack, every single thing I could think of that I might need. Come on in, guys. I had in that. And I mapped my route out start to finish, and I found this beaver pond about 18 miles off the highway. I found this beaver pond, and I was like, I'm gonna get to this pond. I've never been up here, I'm gonna get to this pond. So I followed my track, and I ended up getting close. Basically, the road was here, and then there's kind of a rocky, really steep descent right here, and then I could see the pond at the bottom of the hill. So, you know, on Google Maps, it's hard to see where the elevation is. So I counted that as having been there, because I was by myself in crappy riding boots. I wasn't gonna hike down the hill and come back up. So, mission accomplished. I turned around, started following my track back home. But literally, like, right around the corner from there, I was following my track, right? I created a track, I would just turn around, was following my track out. And I came around the corner, and my road went downhill. But there's this other road to the left. And it looked like it kind of went up to somewhere cool. And I was like, I got time. So I got off my planned path, right? I took a left instead of a right. And I went up, and that's where I found this, okay? This is Dork Mountain, for those of you that know what I refer to. I think it's actually called Twin Buttes, or something lame like that. But I call it Dork Mountain. So this is the Three Sisters. You can't see, but Mount Washington's here, Mount Jefferson's over here. It is a beautiful 360-degree panorama of the Cascades, basically. It's an amazing view. I love it up there. And I only found it because my path was leading this way, and I lifted up my head and looked, and I was like, I wonder what's over there. And I went over there, and I found one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. I go up there 3 or 4 times a year. If I ever get this group right, I keep talking about going, that's where we're going, like, because it's such an amazing spot. But I only found it because I didn't go where I thought I was going, right? Again, I thought I had a path planned out, and I took a step in a different direction and found something even better. And so this is why my motto is, when in doubt, always go up. You know, when you got 2 roads, one goes up and one doesn't, I always take the one that goes up. And, you know, worst case, you get a landing, you turn around. But often, not often, sometimes, something like this, right? And those are often dead ends, but they're often beautiful dead ends, right? July 2018, this was my first moto camping trip on my Versus. You can see it's really loaded up with the Ozark Trail dry bag from Walmart, 16 bucks, and a $40 Walmart tent. Yeah, so I didn't always camp in $500 tents. People always like to give me crap about that. I was like, I don't remember what it was like. You know, I get a discount now is the only reason why I have those. I went to Clear Lake. This is my first time moto camping ever off a motorcycle. My first solo motorcycle camping trip, and I think it was my first solo camping trip ever. I'm pretty sure it was the first time I ever camped by myself. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And that was a big step, but it was, and I was anxious. I was all kinds of anxious, right? I just hadn't, this was the farthest I'd ever ridden from home at the time. And, but I just remembered that joy that I had as a kid. And I was like, I'm gonna get out and do this. I'm gonna make it happen. And this video is terrible, by the way. It's literally all riding and no camping. And it's not even, like, it's a bad video. But it's still up there if you wanna watch it. But that was fun, that was eye-opening, right? And it's just, again, it's one of those first tentative steps. I always used to tell my students that, you know, every time you push outside your comfort zone just a little, your comfort zone gets a little bigger, right? And this was a very small step outside my comfort zone, and now I don't think twice about camping by myself, right? July of 2018, 5,000 subscribers. So things are picking up, right? Things are going well, the channel's growing, it's working, so I quit. I quit for 6 months. I stopped making YouTube for 6 months, right after I hit 5,000 subscribers. I had one video doing really well, still my best video ever, the 10 things I wish I'd known before I started motorcycling. It's got like 400,000 views. My next highest is like 160,000, so that one just hit. But you know, I stopped making YouTube videos. I decided I was going to be a Twitch streamer because there's a lot of 40-year-old bearded fat Twitch streamers out there just crushing it, right? It's definitely a 40-year-old man's game, that Twitch. But that's what I did for a while, and because I wasn't feeling what I was doing. I don't know, I just wasn't into it at the time. But I stopped making videos, but what I kept doing was writing. But I was riding, I said well like 16 times. I was riding off-road. I was riding my CRF 250L all the time. Trail riding. I love just going up exploring forest roads. You guys can come in, there's room. Come on in. There's room. Try to pack them in.
There's room on the front.
You just got mosh pit rules, just push your way through.
Room here, room over here.
Yeah, there's room up front, room over there.
We can snuggle.
It's up, yeah. You guys are good. There's room over here too. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, right. I kept riding, but I was only riding my 250L. I wasn't riding my Versys hardly at all. And I realized this is what I love, right? This is the thing that I enjoy. This is what I get the enjoyment out of. To this day, after realizing that, riding on the street is a means to an end to me. It's fine, right? I'll do it. It's fun, but it's not my first choice. Like if I could live where I could just get out of my garage, go straight up in the woods, I'd never touch the street again. I just wouldn't. But so figuring that out, I came back April of 2019, started making YouTube videos again. But I had a new focus. I had two new focuses actually. So Dork in the Road, as you know, it didn't really exist until April of 2019. So I started in 2017, but those first 2 years were like practice. It's like preseason, right? But when I came back, I had a focus. I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to do two things. One, I wanted to focus on dual sport and eventually adventure riding. I didn't have an adventure bike at the time, not until I got my Africa Twin. But I wanted to focus on that because that was what I was doing. That's what I was enjoying. And so regardless of what the views were, and my dual sport videos didn't do well back then because that wasn't really what my channel was about, but I didn't care because I wasn't motivated to make the other stuff. I was motivated to make videos about the things that I like. And two, my other focus was helping and inspiring other people. That's what I wanted to do. So videos like top 5 dual sport tips for new riders, things like that. But other things were transpiring in the background too. So now that I'm more focused on off-road riding, you know, my daughter starts to get interested. And so in June of 2019, that is a CRF 110. That is my much younger looking daughter. They grow up really fast. She looks very different now. I just bought her a car. But made her a deal, 6th grade. If you get straight A's all the way through 6th grade, I'll buy you a dirt bike. Whatever. Well, she did. So, so we went and bought her a CRF 110F, and we did it like 3 weeks before school ended, so we just parked it inside the door and then went and picked her up and just let her open the door, and she was just like, what? Like totally blew her mind. So that was fun. So 2 weeks later, we went to Brown's Camp, which is just outside Tillamook in Oregon. It's probably the best OHV area I've ever ridden. She didn't really want to do trails, so we mostly did forest roads, but she was hooked, okay? And suddenly I had a new favorite riding buddy. Sorry, Duck Bay. Also in June 2019, I sent a random email to this company that makes luggage and was like, hey, any chance you might want to send me some stuff to review? And I don't know why, but they said yes. And so I got this care package from Giant Loop. And that was the start of a very, very important relationship in my life that I had no idea at the time was going to be so important. But I reviewed the tank bag, reviewed all that. So I still have that hat, actually. It's in my trailer. September of 2019, my daughter has a motorcycle, and now my dad. I've infected my father, and he bought a DR200, brand new DR200. And so we went out on a ride together as a family up to Wolf Rock. So has anyone ever been to Wolf Rock or heard of Wolf Rock in Oregon? Yeah, no? I mean, unless you saw my video, right? Okay. This is my point, okay? Wolf Rock is a 1,000-foot tall piece of rock. It is the tallest monolith in the state of Oregon. The picture does not do it justice. Like, everybody talks about how Haystack Rock is big, and this thing's like 10 times as tall, okay? Like, I could not get it in the picture of my drone when I was flying my drone around it. I couldn't get far enough away. It is a massive natural wonder, unique in the state of Oregon, and it is about 18 miles off of Highway 20, near Tombstone Pass, so between Sweet Home and Sisters. When I was a kid, I lived in Sisters with my mom. My dad lived in Albany. I drove up and down that pass probably 1,000 times in my life. I've been on Highway 20, right? Had no idea this was just off the path. Had no idea this amazing natural wonder was lurking just miles away from this path that I had, tread thousands of times in my life. And, and seeing that, it really opened my eyes to this idea that it's really easy to decide that what's in front of you or the path that you're walking is the only path there is, right? Or the only path that you know. And it really takes courage to lift up your head and look around and see what else there might be, right? Because you know what's safe and familiar. But sometimes, man, if you look around, there's something really amazing just right there, right? And you've just been walking right by it time and time again. And that was a big lesson. That's the thing that I take with me all the time. Because this guy never saw Wolf Rock, okay? This guy didn't know Wolf Rock existed. I don't know that guy would have, he wouldn't have appreciated it, because he spent all of his time be like, oh, should I go camping? Oh, it might be cold, or that sounds like it's a lot of work. And he had no tolerance for discomfort. And I think amazing things lie on the other side of discomfort, right? You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable to have adventures. Otherwise, everything is the same always. And real quick question, who looks happier, this guy or that guy? I feel like that guy's happier. He looks like he's on some kind of drug. Yeah. So how are we doing on time? So good. March of 2020, two amazing things happened on the same day. So a couple weeks beforehand, actually it was like 3 months beforehand, a company in Georgia, Peace Sports is the dealership, they import Chinese motorcycles, emailed me and said, hey, do you want a motorcycle to make content on? And I was like, well, yeah. Do I have to give it back? And I said, no. I was like, what? So this company wants to send me a motorcycle in a box, and I don't have to give it back. All I have to do is... So that was a big, like, holy crap, something I'm doing is working, right? Because these companies are sending me a motorcycle. But it came in a crate, and I'm no mechanic. Those of you that watch my videos know that. So we had to build that thing, my daughter and I. And so I had to deliver it to my dad's house, so that, because he had more garage room, and also because my dad was there for backup, right? Because if I got stuck, I know who to call. But literally, we're in there, we're tearing this box open and putting this bike together, and this happened, same day, 10,000 subscribers. So, new channel focus, right? Focus on off-road riding, focus on helping other people. Something's working, right? Free motorcycles are being delivered to my dad's house. It's working. I found my path. Okay, I was on the wrong path in the beginning, or at least I wasn't pointed in the right direction, but I started going, right? If I'd never started making crappy F-word filled YouTube videos, this never would have happened. I never would have gotten here. I never would have figured out that that was dumb and I should do something else, right? Sometimes you have to eliminate bad possibilities. I used to tell my students, every mistake is a step on the path to success, right? Every failure is a step on the path to success. Because you've eliminated a negative possibility. Do something else, right? So that's March 2020. October 2020, 7 months later, 15,000 subscribers. November 2020, my channel hit 2 million views. My first million took me 2.5 years. Second million took 11 months, right? Guess which one was after I shifted my focus to the thing I'm actually passionate about and enjoy doing. See what happens when you're authentic to who you are. 20,000 subscribers in March of 2021. Took me 3 years to hit 10,000 subscribers. I doubled it in 1 year. What is it now? June of 2022, I'm just about to hit 50,000 subscribers. So finding the right path, right? Focusing on helping others and being authentic was working. It's working. I found something, and it's about being true to yourself, but also finding ways to give back and engage and encourage other people. And my favorite part of this whole thing, like, it's great to get free stuff sometimes. It's great to get to go camping all the time, but this is it. It's comments like this. Just picked up my first DRZ because of you. This gave me the confidence to push forward and order a 300L. Just got my very own DRZ 400, right? Went to a Honda dealer, they had 3 Africa Twins. One is now mine because of you. Bought an Africa Twin. Couldn't decide between a DRZ and a KR 650 and bought a DRZ. That's it. This is what it's all about. It's helping people find their way into this world, to this thing that we all love, otherwise we wouldn't be here, right? Like, I want to be an ambassador. I want my channel to be a gateway into this world that we all love, and I want people to see that they can do it. More importantly, one big thing I've learned is where I thought I was headed was not where I ended up. Like, I thought I was going to be Baker X Derek and go ride through abandoned friggin' factories on my Honda Grom and say the F word a lot, right? I don't do that. It's not my channel. But if I'd never started, I wouldn't be here, right? I would have never found where I needed to be. I've learned that focusing on helping others not only just spreads the love, but that sort of karma, you put it out there and it comes back to you. Like, the more good you put into the world, the more good there is in the world, the more there is for everybody, seriously. And I've learned that it's okay to not be perfect. All you can do is be honest and keep trying. And I've learned that other people need to hear that too, right? It's okay to not be perfect. In fact, perfect is boring. There's no character in perfect, right? I've also learned that amazing things lie off the beaten path and outside your comfort zone. And sometimes they're really obvious, 1,000-foot tall monoliths that you just couldn't see because you weren't looking, right? You have to look. Because if I'd never gone off my ass, walked into a dealership and bought that CB500F, this would be me, still, to this day. Fatter, grayer, probably more unhappy, but that would be me, right? Just waiting to retire so I could sit around and continue to not do anything with my life. So I gave this presentation for the first time last June, so a year and 2 or 3 weeks ago at the Giant Loop Ride. This is my favorite shot because you can't tell, but that's me giving the presentation while I'm standing in front giving the presentation. It's very meta. So I gave this presentation for the first time June of 2021, a year ago. Okay, and then at that time I was just working my full-time job, worked for the school district. I was working at the district office, and hoping that someday I might be able to hit 100,000 subscribers and quit my job and do YouTube full-time, right? And I was at, what was I at last? 25,000 or something like that. But the next day, I took a big leap outside of my comfort zone. I walked up to Dan, the general manager at the time of Giant Loop, and I said, Dan, do you ever think about hiring somebody to run your YouTube channel? And Dan said, yeah, we talk about it all the time. It's something we always want to do, but we never have gotten around to it. And I was like, yeah, because did you know when you search for Giant Loop on YouTube, Giant Loop doesn't come up. Other Rocky Mountains videos about your bags come up. Backcountry Adventure Motorsports' videos come up, but your videos don't come up. And Dan's like, yeah, I know, we think it's dumb. And then he stops, and it's like a light bulb went off, and he said, I'll never forget exactly these words, wait, are you offering your services? I was like, yeah, Dan, that's why I'm standing here. Yeah, I would love to talk to you about that. And he was like, oh my God, that'd be awesome. Let me talk to Harold. Harold is the owner, right? And I thought for sure this will be maybe I'll get an email in 3 weeks or something, or he's just being polite, right? Oh, I'll talk to Harold is code for get away from me. So the next morning I go, I'm just gonna get some coffee. And Harold is there talking to somebody else, right? Literally fully engaged in a conversation. I'm just walking by, didn't even look at him. He sees me, just walks away from the conversation, walks over to me, and he's like, Dan said you were interested in doing some YouTube stuff for us. And I was like, oh man, Harold, I would love that. And he said, let's set up a meeting. As soon as we get back from this trip, let's set up a meeting. So we did, and 3 weeks later, I made this video. Yeah. Yeah, it was a whirlwind process. We had a meeting, made a deal, quit my job, or I went in, actually I'm on leave. This is a great thing about
Are you still on leave?
Yes, I am. I just extended it because if this thing goes tits up, they have to give me a job. So I'm on leave from the school district, and I always do that if you can. Personal leave, yeah, and they know, but it's awesome. So I went on leave, helped them hire my replacement, and July 1st, I took over Giant Loop's YouTube channel, and the money that they're paying me, and they are paying me, is enough to bridge the gap between what my channel makes and what I need to make to survive, which allowed me, now I'm not going to tell you how much.
No.
Yeah.
Does little Dork get to go to school?
Yeah, I mean, she's hungry sometimes, but she gets to go to school. I could get her there. I tell her, pick your 2 favorite meals. That's all you're getting. Yeah, I'm always begging for money to feed my kid on YouTube. But July 1st, so in just a couple weeks of my 1-year anniversary, it's been a hell of a year. So this is where those of you, thank you. I'm not begging for applause, but I don't hate it. Okay. This is where those of you that saw this presentation last year get some new content, because all of that I had covered before. Your eyes are, oh, I'm awake now. So here's the things that happened last year. This is me standing in this tent, except I was on that side, giving a different version of this presentation, and that's Tyee. Did anybody get up to Tyee today? We went up to Tyee. That's a terrible picture because you can't see it. It's a great picture, you just can't see it. It's amazing up there, I recommend it. And the snow's melted supposedly. So I did that last year in September in the rain. Trav and I and one other guy did Oregon BDR Route 6. That was a great trip. We got to practice in the field navigating around wildfires. So it worked out really well because we just ended up riding all the way to the end, and we got to camp at Crescent Lake for 2 nights instead of 1. We rode backwards. So that was actually a really fun trip. But that was my second multi-night motorcycle camping trip. The first one was the week before. I bought a KLR in October and already sold it. I got to go to the AIM Expo in Las Vegas. That's Ricky Carmichael. He gave the keynote speech. That was a blast. It was great to just kind of meet and connect with a bunch of people in the industry. There was a bunch of other motovloggers there because they had a big, they had the top 100 women in power sports thing. So like Amanda was there, and Her Two Wheels was there, and you guys know Lolly, she was there, a bunch of people. So that was cool to get to kind of meet. Yami Noob was there. I didn't get to talk to him, but it's okay because I don't really like that guy. I had a Tenere 700 fell into my lap. I wanted, it's right here, by the way. I still have it, proof positive, but
He hasn't sold it yet.
I haven't sold it yet. Yeah, because I had a Norden on pre-order, right? Because I finally got tired of waiting for a Tenere to come available, because that was the bike I wanted forever. And I was like, screw it, I'll just get a Norden. And I wanted a Triumph, but I couldn't get one of those either. And so I had this Norden on pre-order, and literally 5 days before I pick it up, I get a call from the dealership that I work with all the time, that I make my test ride videos at, and they're like, we got this Norden, we need to move it today, do you want to buy it? And I was like, I can't buy 2 bikes, blah, blah, blah. And Matt just like, oh man, such a good salesman. He's like, think of the content you can make, and blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, so I bought it that night. So unexpected new bike day. This is from 3 weeks ago in the Alper Desert on the Giant Loop ride. But I still bought the Norden, so I have that. So working on that build, and some of you know this, but we're going on the Wobder in a few weeks, and my goal is my plan is sort of to pit these 2 bikes against each other, and the winner is the one that goes on the Wobder. I haven't gotten to make as much content as I wanted to because of the rain, and also I had that little surgery and I got sick, so I'm still going to do that, but I have to decide faster than I wanted to, basically. I got to go to Get On ADV Fest and hang out with Jake the Garden Snake, and this is Ian from Big Rock Moto. That is when they foolishly let us take the Touratech 660s out by ourselves, and Jake and I both dropped them in the sand. Because Ian's like, well, I won't take you anywhere hard, and then he's like, up this sandy ridge, and we don't do sand. Went to Giant Loop again, right? This year, this was like 3 weeks ago. Yeah, cool picture. Travis is in that one. Don't look too hard to see him. This was last weekend at the quote-unquote summer opener, so it was raining quite a bit, but we got up on the Wobder, did some scouting. There's a lot of snow, but I'm hoping with this weather there won't be in a couple weeks when we try to ride it again. And now I'm at the Touratech Rally, which I don't have pictures of because we're literally here right now. Yeah. And this summer, like I mentioned, we're going to ride the Wobder. I'm also going to ride the Colorado BDR at the end of August, which, if anyone hasn't done it and wants to go, I'm doing it with this club. That it's a supported ride. It's $100 a day, and they move your gear and a cooler full of ice and all of your stuff to each campsite for you. All the campsites are predetermined, so all you have to do is ride, right? Email me, I'll give you the link, whatever, because I told them I would help them sign people up, and they're like helping me out with like a hotel room at the beginning. So, but if you want to go, we'll be there together. It's going to be awesome. And if I'm going to go that far away, it's nice to just know where my campsites are and not have to worry about all that stuff. So we're going to do it. But through all of this, what's the point? What have I learned? A few important things. Like I said, amazing things lie off the beaten path, right? You just have to look up, around, see what you can find. This is a big one, and I get comments all the time that prove to me that people don't understand this concept. Right? Understand that your destination may change as you walk further along the path. That's called learning and growing, okay? You're all here, we're all friends, you're not gonna say anything. I test rode a KTM 500 EXCF today, okay? And I did that on purpose because as much as I love my DRZ and have railed against KTMs in the past, I'm kind of thinking about buying one. Because the person that I was, right, the guy that I was 2 years ago, terrible mechanic with no experience. I'm still terrible, but I have more experience. I couldn't afford repairs, but now they're business write-offs. Couldn't afford the maintenance, right? Business write-off. And back then, all I wanted was comfort and reliability, and now I've gotten a little better, and I want to go fast. And I crash a lot, and I don't like picking up my heavy bike. But the point is, right, 2 years ago, everything I said about KTMs or about how the DRZ was a perfect bike for me when I bought it, is true. It was true for who I was then. Ben, you made a video about how the 250L was the greatest dual sport of all time for you. It was. When I bought it, it was the perfect choice for me. And if you've never ridden off-road, I would recommend it to you today. But you're not going to ride it forever. You're not. The suspension's squishy. It's just a fact. The person you are now wants one thing. The person you become may want another, and that's okay. That's called learning and growing. And some people won't understand that, right? And also people like to give you advice based on what they want or they think is right? I get a lot of, oh, you need this bike. I'm like, no, you need that bike. You're not listening to what I'm saying I need, so your advice is not helpful to me. Which is why when people, I get asked all the time, which bike should I buy? I don't know you. I need more information, right? I know what I would do, but you're not me, right? I assume. And that would be weird. Find the courage to try scary things, right? I've suffered with social anxiety for most of my life, right? So the thought of coming to something like this and just having random people come up to me the whole time terrified me. Years ago, it terrified me. I'm better at it now, right? But it's a scary thing, but it's been so great. It is so great to hear from those people, right? It's so great to talk to all of you and see that this, me making stupid videos where I talk to myself in the woods resonates with somebody, right? It's fantastic. And so I'm glad I found the courage to do it. I'm glad I'm doing these things. I'm glad I'm making videos and kind of putting myself out there. Other advice, find your passion, be authentic, right? I made videos before and they were okay, but once I found what I loved the most, that comes through, right? You can't fake it. You just can't fake it. It's okay to make mistakes or not know what you're doing or where you're going. What's important is to keep going, right? If you're on some single track and you crash, you can't just stop. You got to get out of there, right? You got to keep going. Focus on helping others, and then a big one that I think is really demonstrated in the whole giant loop thing is don't be afraid to ask for things. People are terrified of rejection, right? Like it's a big fear. It's like right below public speaking and above death. And my philosophy is, if I don't have something, right? I didn't have a job at Giant Loop. If I never asked Giant Loop if they wanted to give me a job, I would not have a job at Giant Loop, right? If I ask and they say no, I didn't have a job. I've lost nothing, right? I was in the same place. But if you ask, sometimes they say yes. So, and you'd be surprised what asking and being nice to people will do for you, and what it will do for other people. And you just have to be open to reciprocating that, right? When someone asks you for something or needs something, you give that back, put that back in the universe. So, the conclusion, why have I been rambling on at you for this whole time? I already told you, adventure is for everyone. Get off your ass and chase your dreams, even if you're not quite sure what they are, because the first step is the most important, right? So thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate you all being here very much. I appreciate the applause. Yes. And most importantly, don't forget to be excellent to each other. Yeah.
Excellent!
Let me take a selfie.
Selfie.
That's not a selfie. All right. Say Dork.
Dork!
Awesome. Okay.